Educators are those people that pour their lives into other people's children. Whether it's a few hundred superintendents, a few thousand teachers, or a few people sitting together at a table, anytime I have the opportunity to be in front of educators is an amazing privilege that I don't take for granted.
I will never stand in front of those people that pour their lives into other people's children without starting with that. Thank you for your work. Thank you for loving and caring about kids. Thank you for the late nights. Thank you for the early mornings. Thank you for those days where you go and you go and you go and you go and you get home and you have nothing left to give your own family, and that happens. And it's not right, and it happens, but thank you for those. Thank you for the late nights. Thanks for coming on a day like today with such energy and passion and cowbells and drums and doing whatever you got to do to bring that passion and energy. Thank you for your work. Your work matters every single day, but here's what else I know. You know what else I know? I'll be real throughout this whole presentation. I'll be very real with you because I also know the work is really, really, really hard. What you do every single day is not easy. Listen, I was talking to Sarah the other day. She's 26 years old, third-year teacher. She's not aging so well because of this work.
It's important to get them involved right away. Get them up, get them moving, get them connected. Why? Because it's what we want them to do in the classroom. So whether I'm standing in front of an audience of superintendents or working side by side with teachers, it's an opportunity to model what it is we're looking for. I want to be engaged, so I need to make it, as the speaker, interactive in that work. I want to be challenged. I want to be pushed. So as the speaker, how do I encourage, yet challenge, and push them along the way? But at the same time, I want to leave inspired. One of my biggest goals as a speaker is that when people leave that room, whether it's a full day workshop or a keynote or sitting side by side, I want them feeling like they can do it and they will do it. Leadership and school culture lay the foundation for transformation. So whether a superintendent or a teacher, I want them to own it. I want them to see their role in what they're doing.
If you think part of your role, if you're in this room, is to help push kids a little bit out of their comfort zones, to learn a little bit, to grow a little bit, put your hand up high. Because I'm going to model that for you. Because here's the thing, misheard song lyrics, they're really fun when you're listening. They're even more fun when you're singing. Stand up, stand up, stand up, stand up. Oh yeah. Is he serious? Yeah, you better believe it. I know you know the chorus. I know you know the chorus. I know you know it. Come on, let's go.
Today's world is changing so fast. Part of my goal is helping educators create that sense of urgency so that we can create today's schools and create today's classrooms to be relevant for today's modern learners.
Here's the power you have. You see, there's students in your classrooms, students in today's classrooms that will create new industries that employ hundreds or thousands or maybe millions of people. There's kids sitting in your classrooms that are going to find cures to things that our generations never could. There's kids sitting in your classrooms. They're going to solve problems that we never could. On one hand, that's humbling. On another hand, that's the power in your work every day. Never, ever, ever say that you are just an educator.
I also want to help educators focus on their why. They have so much on their plates, new things poured on all the time. Why do they do what they do? Because in our chaotic world, it's so easy to lose sight of our purpose. I can help educators focus on why they do what they do, so ultimately we can be the best we can be for kids.
The impact of a teacher. The impact of your work that you get to do every single day. As the stories would come out, they talked about his leadership. They talked about his relationships. They talked about the differences he made in his community. And as the stories came out, and as the stories came out, and as the stories came out, 4,000 people paid respects to my mentor. 4,000. Don't you ever, ever, ever say that you're just a teacher or just a custodian or just a secretary or just a bus driver or just whatever your role might be. Because you have just the right opportunity every single day to change the lives of kids. And you know what? You do it. You do it every single day. In the words of Manny Scott, he's from California, one of the original freedom writers, one of the things he says about your work is that even on your worst day, teacher, even on your worst day, principal, David, even on your worst day, you are some child's best hope.
Part of my role is always helping educators reflect. They are doing great things, but we need to continue to move forward. Helping educators reflect on their current practice will help them get better.
You think about the changes that are out there, right? Because here's what I know about kids today. Here's what I know about the kids in your amazing school district. Kids today are awesome. Do you agree with that? Give me a yes. Come on. You know what else I know? Kids today have so many of the exact same needs that we had when we grew up. They need to be loved. Kids today need to be cherished. Kids today need to feel like they belong, just like we did, just like we did, just like we did. Kids today need a teacher like you that will run through walls for them, just like we did, just like we did, just like we did. You know what else about kids today? Kids today have more opportunity to change the world than we ever did. So my friends, what are we doing about it?
So when I'm working with educators, I have three main goals. Make them laugh, make them cry, and push their thinking in between. If I've got a group of educators, I need to be able to make them laugh. I bring a lot of humor, but at the same time, I want to tap some emotion. Whether I have folks for an hour or it's a full day workshop, we need to touch people's hearts in the work that we do. But I also want to push thinking in between. It's so important to stretch our comfort zones a bit, continue to move forward, recognize, yes, we're doing great things, but to meet the needs of today's modern learners, we have to continue to move forward. One of the things that's super important to me is to remain practical. It's so important that when educators leave, whether it's a conference, whether it's a workshop, that they leave with next steps. We always have these great days, great conversations as educators, but what happens next? It's ultimately a waste of time if there's no change that comes from it. So I need to be practical in the work that I do.
But you know what I do know? That every single kid coming to your school, to your classroom, is somebody else's entire world. Do we teach like that? Do we lead like that? My friends, do we love them like that? You know why? Because your story is not finished yet.
One of the pieces that I'll always focus on is that return on instruction, being very evidence-based. So we want to push back on trendy, yet highlight what is it that actually does work. Just because something's glorified on social media does not mean it's actually good for kids. And when we're done, I want people leaving encouraged, people leaving inspired, people feeling like they can do it. Because here's what we know. The work is hard. The work is emotional. The work is stressful. But our kids are worth it. And together, we can do this.